So we will reference, every time Coorparoo miss a goal, we're going to reference you today and just say, no, if Janae Gupper would have got that.
Maybe next week.
Do you have any late changes to the side? Anyone out? Or?
Yeah, we have Mel Sweeney in.
Yep.
And Josie Hargraves is out.
Josie's out. So Mel's wearing 8?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks so much. It's amazing how, particularly in Aspley, where the complex is here, Hargraves out, and Hargraves was on the bench anyway. Mel is easily identifiable because she has a knot, and she's extreme. She's way too proud of it. No. The two that I always have, 54 and 59. One's
Good afternoon and welcome to the Bond University QAFLW first week of finals. It is the elimination match between the Aspley Hornets and the Coorparoo Kings, and we're just moments away from the first bounce. My name's Hannah Davies, and in play-by-play today is Daniel Viles. This is a huge game. It is do or die for these two teams. And Daniel, I believe we're about to get underway with the first bounce.
This is Aspley's first ever finals match in the QAFLW, the Bond University QAFLW. The first ruck is taken by by Coco Garton in the middle, but Aspley will get the first meaningful clearance. Going through the middle, that was Michaela Martin. Up towards Hannah Giles, been an important part of the Aspley setup this year. Tackling pressure fierce from Laura Blue, retreating for Coorparoo. Still unable to clear the centre square. Laura Blue getting her hands on it again. Second effort, third effort. Somehow was able to get it away. Caitlin Zielinski clears. It was touched in flight. Thompson knocked it back inside to Martin, out towards Pengelly. Pengelly goes wide. Laura Blue's closest to it. She's got half an hour to get there before there's any pressure on her. Steps inside Curvin, the ex-basketballer. And then there was a good defensive mark. However, a downtown field kick has been played. So presumably there was a bit of pressure after the contest. Chelsea Chesterfield goes inside. It was dropped by Gaunt. Gaunt trying to look around the outside. The pressure in. Kick came in from, I believe, Baldwick. Pengelly looking for it. It's a 50-50 mark, and it's been paid to Taylor Oliver.
Oh, what a beautiful passage of play that was. I love the aggression so far from Coorparoo, how direct they are with each delivery.
Taylor Oliver only moved into the forwards in the last couple of weeks, and maybe that explains the kick.
Well, it's an unlucky miss, but so far, Daniel, I mean, it started as quickly as we probably thought it would.
As the Aspley captain, Courtney Daniels, just fumbled it over the boundary, so Coorparoo is still in the ascendancy. We'll go through the umpires for today shortly. Two matches between these sides this season. Aspley had a hefty win in the previous one, but the first one was a draw. Went inside to Jo Miller. Good pressure was put on her by Hannah Giles. Finally, they're able to break away through Daniels. They come near side. Crozier looking for it. Just got a fist to it. Vetter has Tyson behind her. They're combining well. Vetter provided the shepherd. Look at Tyson. Put on the afterburners. Runs her full 15. The handball was hurried. Good work coming back from, might have been Garton. Schneider just pitches inside, not out on the full boundary throwing.
The run from Tyson, though, my goodness, when she puts the foot down. I believe she comes from that rugby background, sevens. Is that correct, or am I being confused?
No, that's someone else.
By how good her run is.
I know, she's...
It looks like it.
Oh, no, she's just quick. Before Queensland, before Tasmania, Papua New Guinea. Daniels able to steal it out of the hands of Garton. Schneider, that was blocked by Martin. Giles brought to ground. The tackle was definitely beginning around the shoulders as Giles helps Miller up, and everything is sweet. Hannah, umpires.
Of course, our umpires brought to you by Bradnam's Doors and Windows. On the field, Lachlan Ryan, Caleb Stevens and Jack Pledge. And the boundary, Andrew Barnes and Thomas Leahy. And goal, Maddie Wilkin and Mark Jackson.
They've had a little bit of work to do here. Repeat stoppages. Curvin versus Garton in the ruck. Sally Young behind the contest. Oliver protected her face well, then handballed it straight to Daniels. Giles fumbles. Out of the contest, looking for Martin. Martin held well by Miller.
Played 10 games in total, these two teams. Coorparoo have won 6 of those. Aspley 3. And of course, as you mentioned, Daniel, the one draw. But so far this season, Aspley feel like they've had the edge just that little bit. Last time they played, Aspley won 68-15 on this very oval. But Coorparoo, they fought really hard to earn that 4th finals position. You know, that was the one this season that almost could have gone either way, as
they were in jeopardy for a while, you're right, as Schneider has it at right half forward. Just kicked into space, didn't really have a target, found one in Gaunt. Inside to Chesterfield. Chesterfield is capable of great snaps. That was not one. Oh, please get stuck. Please, no, it's come down. That would have been relatable for every kid who's ever kicked the ball in the backyard. On the roof, can't get it down.
Game's over. Go home.
Does it happen with netballs as well? I'm not sure. Pittman found Curvin, just dropped in front of her, through to Liesi. Liesi's got a 60-foot kick in her, and she has more accurate ones than that as it's taken by Feta Hugic, who notably was absent from Coorparoo's loss here a couple of months ago. Oliver putting the big steps in, gets around Pengelly, doesn't get around Pengelly, puts the big tackle on though. Thompson able to clear. She's had an excellent season at fullback, finds Daniels.
Now, for any of you, which I'm assuming is most that read Daniel's preview on the game, something you noted, Daniel, which is going to be really integral to watching this, is how Aspley and Coorparoo kind of vary in their movement of the ball. And Aspley, ironically, despite seeing a beautiful kick into the corridor, and Tyson, great possession. Well, they normally go by hand, don't they? And it's normally Coorparoo that we see put it on the foot. But perhaps that's actually been something that they've noted coming into this game, is to put it on the boot more. Another beautiful delivery.
That was crazy. It just fell out of the hands of Stallard. 6 goals 2 weeks ago, last round, as the leading goal kicker competition ended in a frenzy. But you're right, and sometimes, you know, if you give away a secret of the teams, then they realise they have to adjust. McLaughlin, one of the Hannahs, we'll talk about that a little bit later. As Miller got it outside 50, didn't quite work. Bryant on the left boot, just out of reach of Lendrum. Lendrum turns a 360. Martin was wrapped up straight away by Sweeney, a late inclusion for Josie Hargraves. Hacked out of defence by Jess Watts. He's onto the field early. There'll be a ball up just at the front of the centre square. But yeah, not many teams in this competition handball their way out of trouble in defence. Aspley do. Southport can, Bond can. No clean possessions just on the 50, but Aspley, after weathering a storm early from Coorparoo, will now have forward position.
And speaking of Bond, well, we now know who the winner of this game will face, and that is going to be the Southport Sharks after going down to Bond by 40 points, I believe. Daniel, do you know the exact score of that one?
We'll find it for you by quarter time, but no, hefty win to Bond today. As Coorparoo were able to regain possession at left halfback, Jamie Bryant cuts it off. She's done that once or twice or 1,000 times this season. She plays inside as Aspley spread. Michaela Martin, possession machine, maybe a bit far out for her. Looks for a shorter target. Usually it's Stallard on the lead. It was.
Predicted that nicely.
No, it was, yeah. Wasn't exactly predicting lotto numbers.
So Coco Garten is coming off for a rest. And on comes Liz Hills.
There's about 7 different sports, triathlon the most notable. Jess Stallard. Misses to the right. Finals can do funny things, mind you. We're talking about a woman who kicked the winning goal in last year's grand final, so you wouldn't think that pressure's really on her radar.
Another player, Daniel, that's just run on is Hannah Giles, and you mentioned Hannah McLaughlin just before. What can you tell me about the Battle of the Hannahs? Just personally, this is a pretty special one for me.
Well, I mean, they're both ball hungry. Hannah McLaughlin from Coorparoo is often given the tagging role, and in the last time they played here, she actually played directly more on Michaela Martin. But I just have a feeling now that Hannah Giles has more established her reputation that it may be that McLaughlin has moved on to Giles. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go as Blue. Bit of an ill-directed kick, cleaned up too easily by Thompson ahead of Baldwick in the blue headgear. Over the head of Bryant, but she's got a lot of space to play with. Ducks inside her opposite number in Feta Hugic. Loves to bounce running out of defence. It's a 2-on-1. Somehow kicked it to the 1 in Bonnie Farrell.
Unfortunate skill error there, because there was heaps of players over to the right, and I think that she knew she wanted to go there, and unfortunately the foot just swiveled to the left a little bit too far.
As the mark was dropped by Holly Murfield in 59. More on her in a moment, hopefully. As Pengelly got it inside to Bryant. Oliver's tackling pressure has created the turnover to McLaughlin. Thompson is beautifully positioned again.
And that is just, you know, textbook Thompson. I mean, she is the rock in that Aspley backline. And, you know, time after time we see that she is just always there with hands ready.
And she'll be needed again because Kayla Geddes has been awarded a free kick. Goes inside to Baldwick, one of the Queensland under-18 players. 3 goals down the Gold Coast last week. Kicks it to someone with an even bigger goal-scoring reputation in Chelsea Chesterfield.
Plenty of numbers moving down now for Coorparoo. Didn't have anyone there for a hot second.
Oliver is completely unmarked at left forward pocket. Now she's been picked up by, I think, Morgan Lanigan. Lanigan letting her know she's there, but this is within Chesterfield's range. She's more likely to kick this than not. Her return to the side coincided with an upturn in Coorparoo's fortunes, but not today. Now, I must confess, they're showing 2-1 to Coorparoo. I thought Oliver's kick early in the game completely missed, but it was given as a behind, so we'll just check that at quarter time as Crozier went for the big mark over the back. Liesi cleaned up the crumbs. Comes near side, Hannah Brennan chasing. Charlotte Edmonds got the fist on it first, made sure that the Aspley attack broke down. Holly O'Flaherty in 22 directly in front of us, another Queensland under-18 player.
So Sally Young completely unmarked there. Have to think that's dangerous. No surprises that she'll be first to the ball here.
Over to Schneider.
Nearly taken down.
Through to Evans. Sally Evans' ability to find space. I mean, she should be an architect. She's just any time she's able to slip away almost as though she dissolved her atoms and just reconstructed them 5 metres away. She's incredible.
I never get sick of your metaphors, Daniel.
Oh, you will. You will. Everyone has a threshold. Lands in space. In fact, that'll be retaken because it landed short of Curvin, ex-basketballer, Hills, ex-triathlete. It's a very agile ruck battle. Curvin, who was at Fresno State University for basketball at one point. Were there hands in the back? No. Curvin will get the free kick. Might have been just a bit of tugging away from the contest.
So Sally Young again, just floating in that middle space. Everyone else, though, is pretty tight.
As those handballs are worked out, Pengelly thumps it forward towards Vetter. Went over the top of her, went towards Stallard, who was then tossed away like a rag doll, and wins the free kick as a result. She has a big range, Stallard, but this is outside. It goes wide because she saw a great run from Crozier.
She made her teammate work for it, though.
A little undercooked, wasn't it?
Just a little bit. It looked spectacular taking that role, so it was all worth it.
No, she's a big fly, Crozier. Hasn't landed too many spectacular marks this year, but the big one's coming. But right now, she's got a much more important job. It's a shot on goal. It's a goalless match so far. Plenty of hands. The defensive mark was taken, I believe. That's excellent work by Isla Federhugic. Unsurprising, but excellent. For mine, Federhugic has been the best. Oh, beautiful from Hannah Giles. In a contest, not the tallest player, came down with it. She goes centrally to another contest. Flying was Crozier. Sockered by Martin, minus score.
Definitely sense in the air, a little bit of finals nerves, Daniel. There's so much energy so far from both of these teams, but just the tiniest bit of inaccuracy that we probably wouldn't normally see, and I think that's just easing into the game.
It matters. And Jeff Newman today, unfortunately not able to be with us, but he always says a final doesn't start till each team's scored a goal and they've settled the nerves. Beautiful play down the right as Laura Blue goes across field. I don't think that was a missed kick. She's got it to Joe Miller, realised that she had to go over the contest to give her player space. Went inside. And then forward, given away, was aiming for Geddes, taken by Lanigan. Inside to Martin, racking up possessions already. Goes wide, looking for Liesi. Oliver got front position. It's a 3-on-1. Fighting very hard was Liesi, and she'll cause, well, if she doesn't rip the arms off of her opponent, she'll get a ball up. What I was going to say before, in terms of a specialist regular centre halfback, Federhugic has been the best in the comp this year for mine.
Yeah, she's been really reliable in that back position, and actually I love, you know, having those two players, Thompson for Aspley and Federhugic for Coorparoo.
As Miller goes inside 50. Sorry, you'll get a chance to finish your point in a moment. As it just comes back outside the 50. Going towards Evans. She gets a strange bounce. Vanderweel was beautiful at the back. Got it to Lingard. Here's the handball out of defence. Liesi goes left. Good effort over the back from Baldwick. Didn't come down with it. Loopy handball goes back to, forgive me, that was Roberts White. And then kicked away to Liesi. Sorry, Hannah, finish your point.
Oh, I was just thinking, Daniel, you know, sometimes it almost feels like a match-up, even though they're not directly on each other.
It's almost who can do the best job at their end of the ground.
Absolutely.
As Roberts White finds Baldwick. Baldwick has Sweeney to the right, also Fraser. Was looking for Young, didn't find her. Daniels provides space. Pengelly's able to return with interest. And Stallard just backed away from it. Had Crozier there. Crozier was backing Stallard to win the contest. In the end, she did, but not convincingly. Crozier has to go back in. Awful bounce for Bryant. Sweeney got the turnover. Young goes back outside to Schneider. Started on the wing, is definitely playing more centrally. Baldwick has Sweeney outside. Told to play on. Nothing wrong with the patience. Lingard. Not as good as Federhugic this year, but that's a high standard. Lingard has been a rock at centre half-back for Aspley. Vanderweel out to the left-hand side. Had a lot of space. Goes centrally, not a great kick. Miller takes it very easily.
It's been a dangerous zone, that centre area, for both teams.
Miller, not her greatest kick. Went through to Baldwick, was able to keep her feet. Good bump. May just fall for Garton. Chesterfield was underneath. Garton swivelling. And in the end was probably lucky to get a point.
Thompson just kneeling over.
And in fact, that was Gaunt with the behind. I do mix Gaunt and Garton up, but that finishes today. Just decided.
Good to know.
No, Gaunt in 54, Garton 59. And you can tell them apart because one's tall and blonde and the other one's blonde and tall. It's Garton inside, working through the hands, and that was a lovely step inside from Vanderweel. Not as, well, it was kicked to a contest. Vedder wasn't able to hold on. Puts the tackle on straight away on Roberts White. Good handball inside to Edmonds. The hands from Brennan looked shoulder-ish, but low enough for the umpire. Ball up in the middle.
I'd love to see both of the teams use their wings a little bit more. You know, we know how dangerous going down the corridor can be. Obviously, you know, in finals, you feel a little bit rushed subconsciously, but you've got to take your time.
As Miller kicked it into the knees of Chesterfield, hurtling back was Martin. She's everywhere, she's everywhere. Lanigan went wide. Joe Miller was there. She's just as everywhere. That makes no sense. Continue. Bryant. Lendrum inside to O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty through the middle. Garton was waiting with open arms. Fraser. The 1-2. Garton through the middle. Good inside 50 entry. Gaunt beautiful. And we know Chloe Gaunt has a long set shot.
Well, Coorparoo haven't been able to find the accuracy yet today. Is this the little settler to get them on their way?
Chloe Gaunt, first year at this level. Excellent junior career. Gets close to the player on the mark. Plenty of distance. Well, I suppose they've doubled their lead. It's 4-2 here. Not sure of the score at Lang Park. I care about this game, but I must go. 10% of my brain is thinking about Australia versus France, so I won't lie.
That's pretty understandable, Daniel.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thompson plays right, looking for Vanderweel. Good effort towards the boundary, and in the end, I think Edmonds thought she had it. In fact, that's not Edmonds, that's Watts. Boundary thrown, right half-back Aspley, left half-forward Coorparoo. Coorparoo in their Indigenous jerseys tonight because it's going to get dark and you can actually see each other if you're not wearing the deepest of navy blues. That is the reason. I didn't just make that up.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
It's also a beautiful jersey, so I
Isn't
feel
it?
great that we can have it from that perspective too. But it is also good to see the players.
It's a no-lose situation, really, isn't it, Hannah?
It is a win-win.
Final minute of the first quarter, we are goalless. And it's been fast, maybe too fast, as Hannah's alluded to on a couple of occasions.
For those of you sitting at home, it's 21 degrees here. Not a whole lot of wind, just a touch. And it feels cool if you're a wimpy Queenslander like me.
Liesa to Danietz. Danietz goes centrally. Coorparoo slowing the play down with a bit of possession. Bryant's been excellent in the middle today. And in fact, the clock was a few seconds behind. Coorparoo with a lead that really is almost meaningless at quarter time.
It is. It was a funny first quarter. I think, like I alluded to before, I think, you know, first quarter of a finals match, there's always nerves. The pressure is on. But I think so far it's been really even. So far, neither team feel like they've got the edge over each other. And of course, well, we'll find out if that changes in the second quarter very shortly. We're back after a short break.
I thought the points were excellent. I thought your entries and exits were excellent. You got really good vision now for when you come in. There was once where, in fact, it was nothing to do with the full it was really good mark that I had to come in. Here we go. Got it. That's cool. So you're sounding comfortable.
I'm feeling confident because I've seen.
Mel Sweeney, number 8 for Coorparoo, came in for number 4 for the
That's a big commitment.
Sweeney was basically the version and then he's reached Who does?
She said no. You did all that. She said yes. Oh, yeah.
Number 8, Sweeney, came in for number 4 for Sorry.
Tossing up. Not strapping. Is there a bin?
No. Obviously, what's happened is in the no Am I right with you? Did you ever update your score next month?
Yes.
You did?
An hour.
I'll still.
I think I just called my surgeon and probably said I've just told my surgeon. Let's not think about that, okay? We'll just strap it on.
Yeah, it was like just 5 seconds.
Sorry, just in the heat of the moment. Just 17, was it 7? Oh, I was thinking for a little bit of That's right. But no, I had a total brain favourite, so I think it's I know yes,
About to get underway for the second quarter of the QAFLW, Bond University QAFLW elimination final between the Aspley Hornets and the Coorparoo Kings. And, well, if you've been looking at scores online, you'd already know this, but we do know who the winner of this game will face next week. That was the loser of the qualifying final. The loser was the Southport Sharks, went down to Bond 51-29. So we know what's happening right now, and we know next week who the winner will face. Daniel, do you want to go through the goal scorers for the first term?
Sure, goal scorers for the first term. Thank you very much, Hannah.
Yep.
That was it. we have had a correction to the score, and it was only 3 behinds. That first shot from Tay Oliver went across the face. But enthralling, and yet no one settled. No one settled in this quarter.
No.
There's and very few shots. Like, there haven't been a lot of missed goals either.
No, a lot of play has been in this middle third, if you will. I know that's very netball of me.
No. No, we talk about thirds. You got a 50, and then we've got whatever's left in the middle. So that's how you divide cake when you've got one slightly older kid and 2 younger ones.
Oh, I've never had to have that dilemma before. Usually I have the whole cake, so there you go.
Elimination final. We are at Zups Aspley Oval. This is Aspley's first ever final. Their last game in the QAFLW was against Coorparoo in a grand final in 2018 as Young hoofs it towards blue. Horrible bounce, gives Bryant, ex-Northern Territorian, time to get in there. Was able to get the disposal away as the Queensland teammates met. Weird kind of a handball to Jacinta Baldwick. McLaughlin. Miller has to stretch. Did pretty well in the end as she dodges through a hornet's nest. Baldwick outside of the boot. Looking forward towards Chesterfield. Chesterfield looking for a one-on-one contest. Oliver did well, didn't come down with it. Pengelly did equally well. Giles at the back finds Pittman, who won a premiership with Coorparoo in 2015. Pittman comes wide, finds Lanigan. Lanigan, Crozier, through the hands again. Just needs to be about a foot further back when she goes flying for those marks. As yes, the big fat bloke in the commentary box just told a young athlete how to take a mark. Miller, round the body, looking for Baldwick. Bounces over the boundary.
Well, it started off pretty much just as it finished, hasn't it? I mean, every player, just the energy on this field. That's something I love about finals is, you know, throughout the season, it's pretty natural to have ups and downs, but come finals, everyone is just 100%. Good pick up there from Coco Garton, but she'll be taken down by Aspley. Now, interesting, speaking of Garton, is that she's been switching up with Liz Hills. Now, just interesting to see how frequently they do that, because it's probably more frequent actually than a lot of other teams do. You know, you'll see for Aspley that Curvin will spend the majority of the time on the field. Coorparoo, though, they like to use their bench.
Of course, Aspley's number 2 ruck is Emma Lendrum. More on her in a moment. There's, I think it was Maddie Carlin. No, it was Morgan Lanigan who tried to crash through the pack and ended up, well, it wasn't her who gave away the free kick. In the end, it was Danietz. As McLaughlin outside 50. She's been busy early. I reckon Joe Miller's probably been the busiest player on the field. Number 12 for Coorparoo. Mark not held by Geddes, another former premiership winner with the Kings. Tied up 48 from goal.
I want someone to tell me why Sally Young is always free when I look over, because that's not the person you'd want to be free.
I'm giving you as many answers as are available at the moment. It's I have as many answers as there are goals in this match.
And you can see her just directing the play too, so...
Yeah. One of the highest footy IQs I've ever seen. That includes the AFLW. As O'Flaherty bursts out of defence. The kick was a little low in trajectory. Cleaned up by Feta Hugic. Got the outside of the boot. Blue crashing through the middle. She doesn't care who's in front of her. Drop punt inside 50. Oliver got back position, if that makes sense, behind Pengelly. Schneider. Pengelly with a double effort. Miller harassed off it by O'Flaherty and would pretty much end that play where it began. Cooling here. Still meant to be about 20 degrees. Last light today will be just after full time, but it will be a dark second half as Giles goes through the middle, looking for Vetter. Farrell was well positioned. Good thumping boot. Distance not a problem. Accuracy was as Giles just tells Blue to stand back a little bit. Bryant gets the half volley. McLaughlin cleans up. McLaughlin on Giles. They nearly became one Hannah there. Hannahs of the world unite.
There is quite a few on the field today and in the commentary box.
Crozier drops another mark. Yes, half the commentators are named Hannah. The handballing from Aspley not as accurate as they'd like at the moment. Martin back to Danietz. Danietz ran into a brick wall in the form of Feder Hugic and fell over. Second effort, Danietz and Feder Hugic not leaving each other alone. Feder Hugic ends up taking Martin for a ride.
So Daniel, as the umpire balls this one up, what do the teams have to do to, get a bit of a flow going? Because right now there's a lot of stoppages, a lot of little fumbles. We said it was nerves, but what has to change?
Well, Liessi breaking through is a start. She stumps from a long way out. That won't be a goal. It's well to the right. Stallard marking's a good chance.
Well, maybe this is answering my question to you.
I think they've answered it better than anything I could have made up on the spot. But Jess Stallard, equal leading goal kicker this season with Maggie O'Connell from Southport. Both of them went into the final round with 20 goals, and then they kicked 6 each at the same time, same day. So if Stallard's brought her kicking boots, then Aspley can take the lead for the first time today. Maybe to the right. Maybe I've got parallax error. No, that was to the right. Stallard with her second miss. Another one from a netball background, played for definitely a Western Suburbs team. I'm thinking Sherwood, that kind of play area. This Farrell clears. Watts dropped it under pressure. Martin involved, but as Farrell brought to ground, Stallard was one of the tacklers. It's been called a ball up. In fact, it was Roberts White. Jamie Bryant's been busy, but usually shut down. Which makes sense because she's very quick. You don't want to let her get away. Tyson. Usually a half forward, but it's been moved onto the ball increasingly. Inside, loopy handball found O'Flaherty. Danietz, outside of the boot, but it's onto a lead. Crozier ran onto it. Probably should have held on by her standards. That was a ridiculous snap, but I love that she went for it. Feder Hugic fumbles. There's been a whistle from the officiating umpire, free kick Coorparoo.
You're right, that was an unfortunate miss by her standards, and it was a pretty beautiful setup because they actually kind of all pushed back, and there was this gaping hole in the middle of the 50. So a perfect place to run onto. Just unfortunate that she couldn't hold on to it.
And I was a bit I should have said ambitious rather than ridiculous in relation to Crozier's kick. But as she gains experience, I think there were better options than that particular kick on that occasion. But
and that's finals, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And senior finals as well. A number of these players will have finals experience in junior football, and that's good. That doesn't count for nothing. But harder bodies, a bit more of it, bigger club, more people around, more people wishing you good luck. Lendrum outside of the boot. Sorry about that. Out on the full in the end. Sorry, Hannah.
No, that's all good, all good. If someone scores, please talk over me. There is a nice little crowd here, though, at Aspley. We've got plenty of people over at the clubhouse. Really great to see that. So you're right. There's, more people here than perhaps usually. I'm not sure what the average crowd size is, of course, so that is just anecdotal.
Smaller than this, I would say, and I'm only half joking, as rugby breaks out in the forward 50 for Aspley, as Courtney Danietz, I think, was trying to abseil across Coco Garden. Knocked forward, Feder Hugic did well, and that's beautiful work from Feder Hugic, and then the layoff as well, the pass, I mean. Pengelly's able to turn it over. That's unfortunate after Feder Hugic did all that good work. Martin, good handball outside looking for Bryant. Put good pressure on Miller. Miller has looked dangerous whenever she's been in the action today. She'll continue. Well, she won't continue because she kicks to Lanigan. Inside to Liessi. Liessi can thump it. Looks a bit more controlled. Nearly landed in Murfield. Danietz. Danietz with a clean shot on goal. Misses to the right. So Aspley do have the lead. O'Flaherty off, Curvin on. Kawa on. Oliver flying from the back, put pressure on Pengelly, got the possession, the disposal, looking for Evans. Miller was underneath it. Evans provided a good shepherd. Baldwick away from Liessi. Low pass to Chesterfield, dropped it. Plenty of pressure on her from Lingard.
Hill switches on for Gutton once again.
Yeah, they'll keep moving them. And but yeah, Lendrum is the other option for the ruck for Aspley. But of course, if you move her into the ruck, then you leave that tall target in the forward line out of it. So there is a player running water and messages for Aspley today, Lilu Hung, who's a definite star of the future. And when she's fit next year, she will almost certainly take over that centre-half forward position. And then the team can change shape slightly, as Carver did well in the contest to get it to Martin. Good work at the back coming through from Geddes to be able to cause the turnover. Lingard closest to it, steaming onto it was Baldwick. Ducks inside. The handball to Evans was soft. Evans now conceded the free kick, yes. It ended up being a push in the back because the player sort of evaporated underneath her and she fell. Edmonds off, blue on. There's an arm wrestle I'd like to see. Pengelly outside 50. Looked for the run of, I think, Curvin. Taken by Zielinski. Zielinski fumbles under pressure from Tyson. Not the first person to do that in 2023.
So the score remains 4-3 in the favour of Aspley. Playing 17 minutes here per quarter plus time on.
Ball up just forward of centre wing. Coorparoo's perspective. Tyson with the handball. Bryant. Zielinski shutting the play down. That was a triple effort from her. Boundary throw in. And of course the other thing, just with the privilege of writing the previews for these, is that I felt the key to this game was whoever could interrupt the opponent's possession chains. And right now there is mutual destruction happening because neither side is giving the other an inch. It's one of the most enthralling goalless contests in footy I've seen for a while. Zielinski clears. Evans. Good pressure from Pittman. Evans, they'd know each other well. Inside to McLaughlin. Fumble at the crucial moment. Evans. Baldwick. The handballing was beautiful from Coorparoo. Baldwick looking for a target. Chesterfield dived. Has space. Inside to Evans. The handball was too low. Pittman onto her. Umpire's call crucial. Free kick Coorparoo. This is big. Megan Evans has the shot. And this is not how footy works, but she deserves the shot because she was involved from way back on the right wing.
Goalless as well.
Taking plenty of time, Megan Evans. Played in the grand final 10 years ago for Coorparoo. Some time out of the game, is returned. Still goalless here at Zups Aspley Oval. How are we going at Lang Park, Hannah?
We are 0-0. It's almost like the ladies out here know that they're emulating that feeling because it is very, very close here, and you just get that feeling that it is going to be by the narrowest of margins this evening, which is going to make it all the more heartbreaking for whoever bows out of Final Series 2023.
Well, at least they'll know they didn't choke. Neither side's choking at the moment. They're both playing brilliantly. They're just cancelling each other out as Schneider goes centrally. Pengelly's been excellent. Not the first intercept mark she's taken today.
I feel, Daniel, that I'd love to see some of these taller forwards step up and be more of a target inside that 50. You know, the middies are doing a hell of a lot of work out here. But I think it would just ease the pressure a little bit to have that tall target really step up.
Speaking of one, Holly Murfield played for Coolangatta, played in the grand final for them. Hannah Brennan on the outside, went without the ball. Murfield. Agree with everything you said, is there was a bit of kicking on the ground and the umpire spotted a kick in danger. Cleared by Farrell, went wide. And pressure on the contest straight away. It looked like an easy mark. It ended up being a turnover. Watts on the ground. Grass mostly. And that'll be tied up. I nearly got away with that. So close.
Oh dear. 13 minutes played now. So are we going to go into half-time goalless?
As that's been called a throw, so the free kick will go to Aspley. Look, we will, and look, I'm going to say it because it'll sound better coming from me. Any male trolls online who criticise this game for being goalless, you don't know what you're talking about, as Brennan took a mark in the contest, almost Rachel Vetter-like. It's usually Vetter who just suddenly appears with the ball in the middle of a contest where she's the shortest person. This time it was Hannah Brennan.
She's had a great injection every time she comes on. Been on and off a little bit.
Hannah Brennan, 25 out. Getting very close to the player on the mark. Now she's from a Rugby Sevens background, and she has a goal in a Queensland footy final.
And that's the spark we needed just then. And that puts a whole lot of pressure on Coorparoo. 1-4-10, 0-4-4. And we've played 14 minutes here at Zups Aspley Oval. That's got to get the girls up and about.
Well, it will settle Aspley, and it'll be interesting to see what pace they adopt now, whether that gives them the freedom to just be a little bit slower in the sense of just their decision-making's better. And of course, I mean, because we've had no goals until now, that goal feels 10 times as big as it otherwise would be. It's actually not a big margin. If Coorparoo can remember, hang on, it's 6 points, they'll do well.
You're completely right, Daniel, but it feels a lot bigger right now, doesn't it, as Curvin...
That's Lendrum in the middle.
That is not Curvin, nice, my bad.
But the free kick, look, it was a reasonable assumption. Baldwick has the free kick. As she's moved on to the ball. Oliver, she was on the lead half an hour ago, got the reward. Oliver goes inside, needs to be precise. Wasn't she what? Joe Miller.
Well, Coorparoo is saying, let's step up to the challenge. We've got a mic down there, so I know that that's what they're saying.
You're a very prepared woman, Hannah. I appreciate that. Joe Miller. Clever. Goes with a shorter pass for Sally Young. Thompson got a fist to it first. Baldwick fighting hard. Nearly caused the stoppage. Lendrum able to clear. Back to Miller in a better position than she just was.
Done well to hold on to that. Great little disruption from Thompson, though, and that's what you've got to look out for. I wouldn't be putting the ball anywhere near her.
So Miller, she's looking... Well, Chesterfield's darting. Needs to take it again. Miller. They just got that wrong to Farrell. Plenty of players darting. Chesterfield among them. Miller with the ball in hand. Not going to reach the goal square. Didn't reach Young either. Young looking for an option. Swings on their own left foot. Oh, no. Just a minor. Cooper was celebrating because they can't quite believe it missed. And I'm of that opinion too. They'll clear this near side. Vanderweel was just pulled off in the end, but a mighty effort. Sweeney, late inclusion for Hargraves. She ends up with the pill before the umpire blows the whistle.
Noticed already in the second term, Aspley using each side of the field a lot more, using their wings. We saw in that first term, there was a lot more of the centre channel. Instead, how it was getting, it's risky territory. And it feels like it's paying off. I mean, they're the first to get a goal on the board. And this is a game where even just one goal means so much.
It is almost football-like in that regard. And for anyone watching this game in 5 years' time, yes, the Women's World Cup, FIFA Women's World Cup is happening in Australia at the moment. It has taken the nation by storm. But we're at the QAFLW today and loving it because this is an intense contest. On the line is the right to continue your season. Kawa has an air swing. Sweeney, her opposite number, hits the deck first. Kawa, second effort. Dragged in. Clearing free kick for Aspley to Kawa. Kept fighting, got the reward. Kawa looking for Giles. Has Oliver on her. Giles did well. Came down from Mackay. Vetter inside. Giles did well twice. Tyson, good pass to the umpire. Blue got in the way. Blue goes wide. Looking for Schneider, who'd just come off the bench. Clever, didn't work. Schneider and... Oh, sorry, you go.
Big bump from behind there.
And Schneider had her hands up straight away. Schneider and Martin would have both got to know each other with the Queensland team in Hobart. So we're into time added on. 17 minutes plus timeout for injuries and goals and stoppages and all the rest of it. So it wasn't an early siren in the first quarter. That was the commentator forgetting that the rules had changed for the finals. Only half the commentators. Pittman off, Pengelly on. There'll be a like-for-like change in defence. Carla, Danietz. Danietz looking inside. Well read, Farrell. In fact, that's Roberts White, apologies. Roberts White was looking for Baldwick, got through her, weird bounce afterwards, went through Garton. Bryant did well, Roberts White again, she's been busy. That kick wasn't the greatest kick, but Miller made it effective. Miller crossfield, they love those 45 switches at Coorparoo, it's probably his signature play. Beautiful run through the middle, just got a push in the back was Fraser. This is Coorparoo's best look until Thompson did Lucy Thompson things. Martin, plenty of possessions, but hasn't had the luxury of creating much at all. Blue through the middle, umpire spotted something. Hasn't put the arm up yet. It will be a Coorparoo free kick, and I missed the reason why I didn't play advantage.
Siren surely to go any second now. Coorparoo just urgent with the ball.
Towards the 50, Taylor Oliver! That's a finals mark. Oliver, they need to mark now. The siren is imminent. Falls to ground. Has Aspley done enough? They got players around the ball, plenty of bumping. Pengelly will get there ahead of Baldwick. Tries to clear Baldwick. Play on. Pengelly held on to. Umpire was right there, called it quickly. Michaela Martin's in a bit of pain coming off the ground. Hannah Giles goes on. Sally Young trying to keep it in. Coorparoo, big opportunity before half time. No one at the ground apart from the timekeeper knows when the siren will go. That's Emma Pittman giving directions to the Aspley defence from the boundary line. She's qualified.
Kayla Martin just grabbing her calf there. Looking in a lot of pain, unfortunately.
Lanigan clears to Vetter. Vetter looking for someone to give it to. Had to go backwards. Found the run of O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty's kick was subterranean. Kind of went to Tyson. Zielinski battled well. All the way back to Schneider. Schneider goes wide. Saw a couple of players she liked the look of. Vanderweel got between them. Vanderweel knocks it even wider. And the wide boundaries are Aspley's friends with half-time approaching. Mind you, if this counter-attack keeps going, as Liesi shows she can thump with the left foot as well. Brennan going hard, outnumbered, still come up with the ball. Brennan looking forward, Stella to be closest to it, needs a good bounce to hold it up. Two Coorparoo defenders inside, let's go. And the free kick has gone to Aspley. I think Coorparoo, I must confess, I was expecting a holding free kick to be played to Coorparoo. Maybe it went and slipped above the shoulder. Stallard with a shot. Big. Hasn't had her kicking boots on so far today. 2 shots, 2 misses. This is not easy.
Not to be that one, but a much better quarter from Aspley. They're leading 10-5, the 5-point margin, and that in a game like this will mean a lot coming into that third quarter. Can Coorparoo respond? Daniel, do you think they've got it in them?
Well, today it's about taking your opportunities. I mean, yes, Aspley are 5 points ahead. They've had the same number of opportunities, and Aspley's made one of them count. It's going to be that sort of game. It's not necessarily the dominant team that's going to win. It's the one that says we got an opportunity, we made the most of it. It's a lottery.
Big second half coming your way after this break. Aspley lead by 5 over Coorparoo.
The thing I love about my job is that I get to combine both my passions together, surfing and musculoskeletal physiotherapy, and that was the PhD which I did here at Bond University.
I'm originally from southern Brazil, and during my PhD at Bond University, I met James Furness, and now we do surfing research together.
I was a physiotherapist, and so I took that knowledge to a surfing population. The facilities here at Bond University are incredible. Access to the equipment, so VO2 max testing, DEXA, all of that was here on campus. Really our goal is looking at minimising injury, but also maximising performance. Keeping people on the water for longer is really important. If someone can't surf, that affects their physical health, but also their mental health.
Through Bond University, I could get all the equipment I needed to do my PhD studies. It's world-class waves and international surfing events. It was a no-brainer.
We went to Snapper Rocks and we got to be part of a world-class surf event and also perform surfer health checks on the world's best surfers.
On the Gold Coast, we can find perfect work-life balance.
How I want to live my life with my family is I want it to be outdoors. I want them playing in the water, playing in the surf. The number one reason why students should come study here would be the access they have to staff, and it's just better than any other university. The fact that you can walk straight into the professor's office and get that one-on-one feedback, I think is just second to none.
So next week, the preliminary final will be Southport versus Livingston at Frank. Oh gosh, so Southport Caps. However, what I was about to say, this is wrong, was that the preliminary final may be played at Southport anyway. That will only happen if, for example, if we win this game and lose the next game, then both their first grade reserve grade sides will be playing preliminary final. So they might play the prelim at Frank as well. So if there are no other factors, then reserve grade remains as you expect. But sometimes to keep, like today, Bond should have been hosting the reserve grade, but they thought, well, it's easy, we just play it in the second round. So they gave up home advantage for reserve grade so that if there's injury at first, the reserves would have to so Southport reserves are out, which may actually suit them. Sometimes, if you qualify 2 teams in round 5, there are people who can play in the reserves or you can play in the reserves and competitive chiefs who are like, teams are not going to fit it. I'm going to take your lead in terms of how much you've got to say and to talk about. So, that's going to get a little bit rewarding.
Massive second half about to get underway here at Zups Aspley Oval, where the Aspley Hornets, the hosts, are currently 5 points in the lead against the Coorparoo Kings. In case you've forgotten, this is the do or die final. This winner will continue on their finals journey for 2023. For the loser, it is season over. And if you've been watching this for the first half, you'd know, because the low score actually just implies how tight this game is and how close it has been between these two sides. In case you are just joining us, my name's Hannah Davies and it's Daniel Viles joining me in commentary. And Daniel, we had our first goal kicker in the second term. Talk me through that one.
Oh, well, that's pretty much all there is to talk about in terms of goals, but no, there was a good play out of the middle. I think it was Lucia Liesi who was able to burst out of a bit of congestion, put the ball inside 50, and then managed to find its way to Hannah Brennan. It was a set shot, and she was able to get it home. But I mean, we talk at Coorparoo 5 points behind, goalless at this point. However, there have been a couple of set shots that have gone awry. Sally Young very nearly scored with a snap on her non-preferred foot. Sorry, no, she is left-footed, my mistake. Late in that quarter. In fact, her teammates were celebrating until the behind flag went up. So, I mean, it's not just that they're not out of this. I mean, the score at the moment really just reflects that Aspley have taken one more opportunity than Coorparoo has. So I don't really think that either team needs to change too much. And it may just be a bit of a war of attrition in the sense where you rely on your fitness and hope that the other team wilts first, and that's what gives you space.
Certainly not wrong there, Daniel. I think what's impressed me for Coorparoo is probably their defence. I think they've done really well to ward off a lot of attacks from Aspley, but I think for them, I love to see their forwards step up again. You know, I said pretty much right before Hannah Brennan kicked that goal that I wanted to see some of those key forwards step up, and she pretty much did. I think mentally, though, you can't underestimate what that goal's done for Aspley, even just looking across at them. You know, they're up and about, there's a bit of confidence, bit of, you know, step amongst them. For Coorparoo now, well, they're on the chase, and I know it's only 5 points, but, you know, given how low scoring it's been, it's these little margins that actually could play a big role in a game like this.
And maybe that's what you need to think of in the sense that, you know, sometimes you might come into a third quarter going, right, we want a 4-goal quarter, we want a 5-goal quarter. They might only need 2 for the match, you know, 1 this quarter and 1 the one after. And if you break it down very slowly and say, well, our defence is holding up, and let's name some people. Bonnie Farrell has been immense at fullback. Caitlin Zielinski and Grace Roberts-Weiss are on the halfback flanks, repeatedly getting in the way, repeatedly spoiling ball. Isla Feder-Hugic, when she hasn't been as active today because the plays tended to go wide, but when she's been required, she's been fantastic. Nothing wrong with what Coorparoo's doing at all, and yeah, breaking it down and breaking it open, hopefully.
So Coco Gutton starting ruck again for Coorparoo, and Anais Curvin remains in the ruck for Aspley.
Saw Michaela Martin just looking a little bit sore and sorry during the halftime break, but it didn't look like her match was over. So that's important for Aspley. Support from, I think, 3 corners of the ground for Coco Garden, so she's done well to space her supporters out around Zups Aspley Oval. And Michaela Martin's downstairs, I think Hannah's trying to let me know.
She is downstairs. She's got the ice on the calf. I feel that means her game perhaps is over, or at least this quarter.
She's a tough cookie. We'll see how she goes. As Coorparoo regain possession through Miller, arguably best on ground in the first half. Laura Blue gets through by sheer will, knocks it over the head of her teammate in Young, her captain. Just copped one in the, accidental hand from Liesi. Liesi doesn't argue. It was contact above the shoulder, but a lot of respect, as Laura Blue pretty much single-handedly brought that ball forward 40 metres. Played a lot of wing this year, Laura Blue.
And what a kick that is.
It's the least surprising thing she does.
Oh,
Her
goodness.
thumbs. She can kick 40 with her left foot.
Oh, and how about this one too?
Vanderwheel. Landed at the feet of Farrell. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Roberts-Weiss, sorry, that was Garton. Crozier had it in the middle of the park, but there was holding on to the player after it had gone. So Garton dances through the middle. Straight through the guts. Lingard was all over it.
Laura Blue's just come off. Mel Sweeney replaces her, but I think it's just a little rest. She didn't look in pain or anything from that cop to the eye.
Lingard has it again, running through the middle. Just a few fumbles. I do wonder if there's a bit of dew on the ball. Liesi, left foot, taken a little too easily by Farrell.
And that's what we spoke about, you know, just using those directions, just going a little bit left or right, because that middle direction, well, it's getting eaten up.
It's not the hallway at home. You don't have to keep it in the corridor. Geddes, right wing. Zielinski in front. Goes a bit deeper, rightly so. Giles, superb.
She's had a great impact tonight, hasn't she?
She's had a great impact this season, Hannah Giles. To the contest, Crozier got underneath it. There was pushing in the back, wins the free kick. Danietz plays advantage. Did well. Murfield inside 50. Was looking for the run of Stallard. Came off the feet of Farrell. Feder-Hugic bursting out of defence. Was looking wide for Schneider. As a defensive winger, she's almost peerless. Pengelly, an intercept marking queen. Pengelly back towards the 50. Plenty of space being created for Stallard. Stallard looking wide. Into the pocket. Needed a lead. Crozier dropped it. Space for Danietz. Back to Liesi. Zielinski. Too high. She was positioned well. She looked like she had it all over it and just didn't have the discipline in the nanosecond that she had to think to get the hands lower.
This could be a huge moment in the context of this game. Low scoring, Aspley looking to put the second on the board.
Liesi had no luck with the set shots against Coorparoo when they played here earlier in the year. Kicked 1-4 that night, and the one she kicked was after a 50-metre penalty, put her smack bang in front of the goals.
Daniel, another question for you.
Go for it.
1 goal scorer so far this game, Hannah Brennan. She's on the bench. And it doesn't look like she's injured either. I know she's one of those, so far today, being a bit of an impact player, but when your impact is the only goal that either side have got, surely you're putting her out there.
I'll give a different opinion in a moment as Pengelly just drops the mark on the far side. Oliver was crashing through the middle. She's worked very hard so far tonight. Baldwick, oh, that's beautiful from Baldwick. Goes to Schneider out wide. Check side kick. Got it behind Pengelly. Through the legs of Chesterfield. Needed a bit of support. Couldn't get away from Giles. Ended up getting the handball. McLaughlin. McLaughlin goes inside 50 to the contest. Over the contest. Pittman looking to sweep. That's beautiful from Gaunt. Brought down. Lingard wins the free kick. Superb work. Aspley have so many half-forward options that each provides something a little bit different. Tyson's different from Brennan's, different from Stallard, different from Lendrum. They will rotate them all night, and they'll keep asking different questions of the Coorparoo defence. So I don't mind that Brennan's on the bench at the moment.
Well, it's not a bad conundrum to have, is it?
Coaches are kill for that problem in a lot of other teams in this comp. Aspley working down the right, dropped by Vetter. Haven't seen much of Vetter tonight. She's been putting herself out there and just hasn't had the luck so far, but she's, as Coorparoo in a clearing free kick, she doesn't need much to have an impact in a game.
For those wondering, still 0-all in the Matildas game.
So if it's goals you want, we're winning here at Zups Aspley Oval.
We certainly are. Tyson, we're coming off. Well, there's my girl, Hannah Brennan, comes onto the field.
Do you know Hannah Brennan went to the University of Newcastle? Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Inside.
You've got
Giles.
a close connection to Newcastle.
It's 6 degrees of Newcastle in this competition. I'm all for it. Danietz, beautiful handball to her. Just a little bit too high. Baldwick on her tail. Danietz trying to indicate that Baldwick had her before she got the ball. Didn't work. Baldwick. Over the head of Pittman. Thompson. Good shepherd by Pittman. Good thump by Thompson. Not a good thump by Thompson. Out on the full.
Coco Gaunt just limping off there. The left knee, is strapped, and it's the one she's limping.
As Watts puts it inside 50. Thompson and Lingard trying to clear. Not the most convincing play. Went around Garton, lands in the field of play. Pengelly did well to reach over that contest to reel it in. Giles got the hands over the back. Bryant looking to get away from Watts. Didn't work. Watts over the shoulder. Bryant free kick. Sorry, further forward, Giles free kick. Bryant did nothing wrong. Watts did nothing wrong. Giles.
So Liz Hills is taking the field. We'll keep an eye on that one for Coorparoo.
Stallard from the back. The thump went up from Murfield. Stallard timed to run perfectly. Sees something she likes further forward. It wasn't Farrell, and she was the one who got there first. Out wide, was looking for Fraser. Stallard turns it into soccer. I think that was Watts she's brought down. Maybe Roberts White. In fact, she's given away the free. And it was Roberts White.
Lingard just rotating off with Morgan Lanigan. And Sally Young comes on again too. Beautiful take.
Lovely mark in the contest. That looks like Watts. Been a good acquisition from the... Oh! Commentator's curse. That's my fault entirely. Jamie Bryant cuts that off. Goes inside, looking for Brennan. Baldwick read that before it was published.
Well, it's just intercept at the moment.
Which indicates to me they're looking for teammates on the lead. And sometimes if you're trying to do that wordlessly, if the signals aren't quite there, as O'Flaherty does well to get possession round the wing, gets past Fraser. O'Flaherty looking for the forward target. Stallard again, touched in flight, so not paid. Baldwick knocks it across. Edmonds, lots of play off the ball. Murfield tries to kick it out of trouble. Just bounced away from Brennan. Murfield scores. That was an unholy mess, and nobody in brown and gold cares.
The Aspley Hornets, they've got two, 17-5.
Let's go, Lenny! Get on!
Huge.
Shows the importance of playing the whistle.
Certainly does, but I feel like it came from that beautiful run from Holly O'Flaherty. I mean, the speed, I hope AFLW teams are watching, because I know it was touched in the air, but even that kick was perfect delivery.
Yeah, no, when Holly O'Flaherty gets space, I mean, she's in a weak Wilston Grange side last year. They've improved a lot as Jamie Bryant hobbles off the field. But in a fairly weak Wilston Grange side last year, O'Flaherty still got a Rising Star nomination. She was I felt their best on ground last year, even ahead of Litherland, who won the best and fairest for the club. And Mackenzie Finlay, who got named in the Team of the Year in the competition. But O'Flaherty was fantastic and owned that left side. Limited opportunities here this year for various reasons. And I'll give up that topic as soon as someone gets a clean possession. Still waiting. Young gets a clean possession. Twas ever thus. She's been doing that for over a decade. Through the middle from Fraser. Went too far for Evans. That's falling goal side for Chesterfield. 2-on-1. Thompson did well to get in the way. Oliver Sockers off target. Misses everything. Boundary throw-in. Now that, Coorparoo did nothing wrong there. Just the luck. It only needs a... If that ball had sat up for Taya Oliver instead of rolling along the floor, suddenly she gets an opportunity and it's game on again. I'm not suggesting Aspley's been lucky by any stretch, but they've had a little more luck than Coorparoo. But my word, how they've used it. There's Baldwick, who's been Coorparoo's best in this third quarter by some margin, I'd say. Everywhere. Lendrum over the top, does her own rucking. Kawa turned it into basketball. Outside to O'Flaherty on the other side of the ground now. Giles knocks it to advantage. Young plays tunnel ball with it. Tied up, 55 out. 17 plays 5. Aspley's first ever appearance in the finals. They played Coorparoo in their first ever game and their last game in the second division. Every momentous event in their history has been against Coorparoo. Holly Murfield, big run down the right, looking for a target inside. Running onto it was Stallard. That'll be a boundary throw-in. Stallard claiming she was taken out. I think it was, 6 1 half does the other.
Holly Murfield, I thought she was going to run the whole field. Looked like she could have too.
She was in the, I don't think she ended up being drafted by the Gold Coast Suns, but she was in their train-on squad for a long time. Delisted, went to Townsville. Star up there.
That will offend people from Townsville.
Oh, that's why I said sorry. It was, no, to people from Cairns, you are the best city in North Queensland. To people from Townsville, you are the best city in North Queensland. There we go.
Such a people pleaser.
No, I'm just a weakling, really. Let's get back to the footy. Aspley, right half forward. Taken by... Oh! Yeah, that's a sling tackle. Watts brought heavily to ground by Giles. And Watts looking a little groggy.
Been nicely umpired this evening, of course, brought to you by Brandon's Windows and Doors. Lachlan Rowell, Caleb Stevens and Jack Pledge on the field. Andrew Barnes and Thomas Lay on the boundary, and on the goals, Maddie Wilkin and Mark Jackson doing a great job of this final tonight. It's a hard one to do, isn't it, given how close it is, and this is not looking good. We've got the stretcher out.
This will be for Jess Watts, who is... she's kind of the link in the midfield. She's got the energy of McLaughlin and the nous of Sally Young. So for her, she's often the great distributor around the midfield, but isn't afraid to win a hard ball as well. So this is big. And it's kind of a matchup for Michaela Martin, who plays a similar role for Aspley. It's not really how we wanted the sides to even up, but it's how it's worked out.
Speaking of Michaela Martin, the ice has actually come off the knee and she is doing some stretches. So as unfortunately we see Watts down, that is a positive for the team on the other end.
And of course the positive in finals is that we do have the luxury. This is not taking time off the clock. The clock on your screen will keep going. The clock at the ground will keep going. But it probably means that in addition to the 17 minutes, we might be looking at maybe a 24, 25-minute quarter.
Oliver thinks she's going off. She's not.
That looks like Schneider coming off.
So, Coorparoo, Daniel, well, they're still only 2 goals away. What do they need to do to get back in this?
Well, the first thing is to get out of their 50. They have been bogged down there a little bit. The Aspley are marking Chesterfield well, I mean, one of the weaknesses that Coorparoo have is they don't really have that sort of, big target centre half forward. And it's not so much about kicking it to them. It's about what the other players can do when they're drawing the defence. And so Coorparoo lack that at the moment. But they do have some excellent small forwards, Chesterfield being the most prominent among them. Normally Baldwick's up there as well, but she's doing an excellent job on the ball at the moment. So whether Randazzo shuffles the deck a little bit and says, okay, I need to, so that I've got more thrust up forward, I need to put Baldwick up there and put someone else on the ball and just risk it, because I mean there's no tomorrow. If you lose, you may as well roll the dice. Whether even you take her, I mean Taya Oliver has been largely neutralised in this quarter. Actually, she's tried hard, but she's often been pushed wide. And I mean, she's the closest they've got to that kind of big focal point, but she's been playing halfback all season. She's quite new to the half forward role. So
I feel that when she's most dangerous is when she's in the air, and I feel that Aspley have done a really good job to nullify that and to keep it flatter.
Yeah, taking the aerial route out of the contest. So just looking around as well, that of course one other option they have, Bonnie Farrell's been playing fullback for Coorparoo all year, but when she was playing up north, she was a goal scorer. She was a full forward, and so she may be someone who they can put up forward and let people like Charlotte Edmonds and Arla Feta-Hagic, Mel Sweeney take care of the back as Lucy Watts is carried off the field, which is, if this is Coorparoo's last game and there's a lot of time to go, it's not the way anyone wanted to see Jess Watts end her 2023.
It's certainly not. I think for me right now, it's going to be the test for Coorparoo and how they battle this psychologically. We've said it before, I think, on this exact field, when players go off, it's not often, their role as much on the field, but it's never a nice feeling watching your teammate go off, especially in a final, and I think that is one of the toughest things, actually. And, even just seeing the stretcher brought out is never a good feeling, and there's always a part of your brain that's with your teammate and wondering what's happening. So, but sometimes that is actually what can bring a team together and get them over the line. We saw a little huddle there from Coorparoo. Would have loved to have had the mic down there to hear what they're saying, but we'll just have to assume that it's a bit of a pump up to do this without their teammate, Jess Watts.
And the delay will be a couple of minutes more. I certainly, when there's a stretcher going off the field, and there's kind of, what's to the right is the football clubhouse here at Aspley, and then what's to our left is more the sort of league's club, for want of a better phrase. It's where the pokies are. So hopefully, as they go towards the actual clubhouse, they just make sure they get off the field before they restart, and that seems to be what's happening. But it's been an intense match. One breakaway goal for Aspley, and one which they just managed to will through the goal. Holly Murfield won't care. She's a goal scorer in a final for the first time in 3 years. Play resumes. Cooper out of defence. It's a worm burner, but the mark is paid. So I believe Edmonds on the far side. No, Feta-Hagic. It's dark. Keeping it left. Over the back was Hills. Daniet's through the middle. She's worked hard. Plays the 1-2 with Liesi. Forward to Brennan. Fumbled. Blue at the back. Miller getting involved. Willing it forward. Lendrum. Lendrum breaks to the outside. Kawa couldn't hang on. Feta-Hagic through the middle. No clear opportunity. Brennan reefs it away. Brennan handballs inside. Not really to anyone. Tyson does well. Goes without it. Zielinski. Don't argue. Ended up giving the ball away to Kawa. Kawa wins the free kick. Zielinski's not sure what's happened, but if you lose the ball when you're trying to palm someone off, that's a free kick.
My goodness, the Aspley bench, though, they're up and about. Why not? 2 goals ahead, and all the confidence is with them right now. It's a very different side over at Coorparoo. It's not that it's lower or great pass into Crozier.
Crozier doesn't do that enough. She's going to take some brilliant overhead marks, but just your traditional on the lead, going forward into the breadbasket. And she's a good set shot generally. It's an unusual technique. You will see her last step is very, very short, but her leg speed is phenomenal. Watch this. Touched on the line. Just fell short. But Crozier is one of those players that I have to try hard not to build up too much because I think she's brilliant and got a big future. Zielinski through the hands, Tyson chasing. Tyson knocking it inside, somehow got through 4 kings. You have to go to the Old Testament to find the last time that happened. Baldwick looking up towards Roberts White. Sorry, that's Gaunt who's playing forward. She's out wide, boundary throwing. Coorparoo with an opportunity. The call downstairs was 8 minutes left in this quarter, which sounds about right. We're 2 minutes into what fellow commentator Chris Yin calls junk time. So 19 minutes gone, but we've had massive stoppages. Oh, the scoreboard's showing 3 goals to Aspley, yes. Okay, well, the score on your screen is probably correct.
Sorry, that was my terrible attempt at
sign language. That's okay. There's a tackle from Pengelly, not paid, but it's put Coorparoo under pressure. Lanigan will be the recipient of the turnover. Runs headfirst into Geddes. Liesi did well on the ground. Pengelly with a second effort, third effort. Out on the full. And that was the first thing Pengelly's done wrong in about half an hour. But yes, the scoreboard is showing a third goal to Aspley. I think they kicked they hit the goal button rather than the behind button with the previous shot at goal. Coorparoo, Farrell, looks inside, it's going to go over the head of Miller. Van der Weel was onto it, dropped it, knocked it. Still knocking it. Kawa finally gets possession, dropped it in front of 3 or 4 kings. Kawa somehow got through the traffic. Plenty of effort. Oh, knocked over by Blue at the end. Was that just a shoulder? And the umpire has called that as just a bit of ebb and flow.
Another update on Michaela Martin for anyone wondering. She's currently doing huge agility exercises, so it's certain to say she will be coming back on. Really good news for the Aspley Hornets.
I hope a miracle befalls Jess Watts and we can get both teams at full strength for the final quarter. Maybe hoping too much. Giles through the middle. She's worked so hard tonight. Oliver.
Yeah,
that
umpire definitely needs to pull that one away.
That got a little bit Greco-Roman there at one point. And, okay, she's milked that. She was pushed over a little bit backwards, but she did milk that a bit.
No time like finals to put a bit of mayo on it.
Oliver. The handball intercepted by Tyson. Tyson knocking it forward. Sheer will. Coorparoo turnover. Young. Not Young's best kick. Turned over to Van der Weel. Couldn't get it to Schneider. The body wouldn't turn as quickly as she wanted. Lanigan to her left. Sorry. I just mansplained a forward run. The mark dropped in defence. Falls to Vetter. Vetter a fair way out. There's a bit of swing on this. But in the way, there's also a Farrell. A lot of teams have found that to their discomfort this year. Young.
And that's what we said before, is Coorparoo's defence have been the highlight for them, but unfortunately it's this bit here that they haven't been able to capitalise, and this is why.
Brennan gets it through to Daniels. Horrible bounce. Good work on the ground from, I think that was Chesterfield, who's dropped a long way back if it is. Curvin wrestling Hills. A ruck wrestle in a more literal sense. Back to Van der Weel. Carr has really stepped up in this quarter. Just swung away from Crozier. Murfield. Kick was blocked by Baldwick. Falls to Vetter. I said she doesn't need much, but she takes a loss.
Well, hopefully they don't update the scoreboard. They've already got the third goal there. Nope, they have indeed put up 4, but it is definitely just 3.
Well, the good news is I think most people watching this not at the ground can't see the scoreboard. All they can see is the unadulterated truth. Brought to you by David from Double Take on camera. Thank you, David, for your work. Thank you, Double Take, for your work throughout the season. But a third goal to Aspley.
And 2 for the third quarter. Holly Murfield first, and now Rachel Vetter. Daniel, it feels that this game is slipping away from Coorparoo.
Which really, I mean, we didn't really get time to give a preview for this match. I mean, Aspley went in as favourites. And Coorparoo have done well to hold them this long, but I don't want to be patronising the Coorparoo. They went into this game with real belief. Speaking to Beck Randazzo during the week, her simple phrase was, why not us? Someone's got to win the premiership. We're still in it. Why not us? It's not over yet. Good work at the back from Jo Miller. She's been excellent today. Repeatedly, Zielinski. She's taken a couple of steps up today in her reputation. Pengelly is playing one of her best ever games in this competition, and she's played a few good ones. Through the hands, Murfield just flirted with danger by a bit of an air swing. Young is in space. Hannah Davies falls over in shock. Through the hands of Pengelly, also Oliver. Here's a sprint. Oliver got there first. Curvin's out there. Curvin did well to back it up. Tyson put the defensive pressure on straight away from Zielinski. Oliver looking like a woman possessed at the moment. Comes back to Miller. Miller darts round the outside. She deserves some luck tonight, Jo Miller. Went over the head of Hills. Thompson fumbled and then got a beautiful handball away. Didn't get a beautiful did. The free kick's gone to Aspley for, I think, contact over the shoulder. Thompson's free kick.
Do we have any crutches?
Correction, Vanderweel's free kick. It is dark out there. Vanderweel. Towards Giles, who I think was preparing for someone to tackle her and then realised there was no one. Makes sense that she's seeing shadows out there at the moment. It's pretty much all you can see. Crozier working hard on the ground. Tried to play a 1-2 with Brennan. Didn't quite work. Schneider's worked hard tonight. Kicked away into space. The closest person to that was one of the umpires. Isla Fraser working hard. Vetter. Vetter inside was given space by Kawa. The defensive mark dropped by Miller. Ended up with Dania. It's good work from Brennan. Brennan trying to get space for herself. And that free kick has been paid. I think that's Farrell. No, that's McLaughlin. Excellent free kick winning from McLaughlin. That's an awkward sentence, but you know what I meant.
If there's ever a source of inspiration that any Coorparoo fans need out there for a comeback, I want to cast your eyes back to Pride Round. And we saw Aspley, this team right here, as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. But I'll finish off my story quickly because it's very entertaining. In Pride Round, of course, we saw Yeronga nearly get their first win of the season. And then what happened was Aspley completely turned the game on its head. It was a completely unexpected comeback. If you were there for that game, no one could have expected it, but it happened. It's not impossible, is what I'm saying. And it's only, again, the scoreboard here is incorrect. It's only 3 goals. It's not impossible. And I hope that Coorparoo on the field and at home know that. And I'm really excited to see what they can bring for this first time, because it's not a write-off. 29-5. We'll be back for the 4th quarter. Can the comeback happen? It's do or die here at Zups Aspley Oval.
Encourage you, mate.
That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
No, I mean, part of all, just in the personal sense, you always want to get through those things. But also, you want to be sport lovers. And sport lovers tend to be sort of romantic in the sense that you want to sort of get a bit of the story. And, I think my life that I only use is mainly because the technology's out there, is that if people are from you, if you think you do.
When
Okay. It used to be with the stunt one thing that terrified me. And he said something like, Terry, half like a fun.
I wanted to say, if that was you, I would have said Daniel and uses phone calls.
Oh my word.
You owned
Thankfully, first of all, that would be funny in music. But secondly, you can get away with it because most of the people watching it have forgotten that there aren't films anymore. So I can actually ask, is everything okay from your perspective, Dave? Is there anything you're doing that's making life difficult for you?
No, it's all fine. It's just weird because like I set up this sound level so fine for the last time, and now I have to keep changing it.
Yeah. This is their first year back in the game for about 4 years. Ash Hales, who's coached half of the players in Queensland, said that she was one of the most naturally talented juniors she'd ever coached, and then just fell in love with it. Yeah. Started the year in back pocket, then was moved up to the wing for a while, and then for the final was put. But was just, I mean, she wasn't trying to cause damage, it was just poor technique. She just went through with the tackle, and so, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. No. Oh, her and Taylor, sorry, I was trying to do two things at once and I forgot the man. I was 24, I'm 25 for some reason, but I'm happy to...
About to get underway for the final quarter here at Zups Aspley Oval, the Bond University QAFLW elimination final. The Aspley Hornets could be walking away, playing next week. Coorparoo Kings, is this the end of their season? Well, if you listen to my pump-up inspirational speech right before the break, you'd know that Coorparoo still have a shot at this. 3 goals is nothing really, but it's going to take a big, big performance from the Kings. Daniel, can they do it?
Look, they can, and I'll come up with another example. In a preliminary final 2 years ago, Bond University in a prelim against Maroochydore didn't score a goal in the first 3 quarters, got 4 in the last. If Coorparoo do that here, it's going to be remembered for a long time. Liesi got first hands to it in the middle, went to Daniels, then Giles, back to Lendrum. Intercepted by Zielinski on the ground, then back to O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty forward to Brennan. Beautifully timed handball. Played the one to O'Flaherty. Holly O'Flaherty! It's looking like Aspley's nice. Now, if Coorparoo win, they'll definitely be talking about it for a long time. What was that, about a 20-second goal? Something along those lines?
Well, what a start from Aspley. Almost not surprised. The confidence they're taking into this 4th quarter is immense. And Michaela Martin, I believe, is back on as well.
What I liked about that goal was that all of the midfielders got involved. It was Lendrum in the ruck. Giles had a hands on it. Daniels had a hands on it. Liesi had a hands on it. Brennan handled twice. O'Flaherty got out of midfield, started on the wing, came in. It was just tremendous. Garton able to get the better of the ruck this time. Goes out towards Blue. Baldwick on the ground, tied up by Tyson and Liesi.
I really do think that first quarter, Daniel, where it was so low scoring, was due to nerves, because the football we're seeing now from Aspley is not low scoring. Goals are flowing. Could this be another one? Crozier! Confident take from the young star.
Edge of her range. Star was already at 50. It's not for the player on the mark. I believe the player ran behind the player in the protected area. And so Runya Crozier went from the edge of her range to something she could probably do when she was 6. Runya Crozier. The Hornets are excited as they are eyeing off a preliminary final.
They've got Sharks in their sight next week. Are they the ones to take on the Southport Sharks? It looks like it could be. 5-6-36-0-5-5.
I'm looking for Coorparoo's body language. They're not flagging yet. They're still pretty upright. Laura Blue's looking alert.
Laura Blue's always alert, though.
True. Oh, she won't give up until tomorrow morning. She won't even accept the result when it's finished, but not in a Donald Trump way. Good football game, isn't it?
Oh dear, I was not expecting Donald Trump to be brought into this.
Yeah, just slipped out. Let's keep going. Comes out right. Went towards Daniel. It's Miller. Miller's been almighty tonight. Contact over the shoulder. Free kick will go to Aspley. Giles. Been superb tonight. Found Pittman. Just took a little bit too much liberty. Liesi. Lanigan. Pushed in back play. Advantage would have been paid, except Laura Blue got it. And so back to Emma Pittman in the middle.
Notice how Aspley have gone back to that classic play where they're using their handballs. I felt like in the first quarter they almost tried to switch it up and use, their on-the-foot passing a little bit more. But when they go back to what they know, their bread and butter, that's when we see success for them.
Lanigan pumped it inside 50. Liesi made sure it stayed there. Strong work on the ground from Roberts White, who's been very impressive tonight. She's got a long career ahead of her if she wants it. Lendrum knocked it to an opponent just out of Prince. Miller got the Feta Huggett. She put up an air ball. Oliver, she got completely underneath it. Gaunt in the middle. Giles. There's the lead. There's the mark. Crozier. They're not running behind her this time. They're going to make her own in any goals she gets from here on in. Kicked goal of the year from about this distance last year, but that was on the run. Crozier. Off target. But that confirms her distance. .32 margin. Blue. Not her prettiest kick. Chesterfield did well, playing very low. There's not a lot forward, even if Coorparoo does get the ball. Tyson paid it downfield free kick. She was just pushed off the ball after she'd kicked it, so the free kick given to Brennan inside 50. Aspley can push players forwards. If they concede one on the counter, they've got lots of breathing room. Brennan going towards the hot spot. Stallard.
The Hornets can do no wrong right now.
And Jess Stallard playing full forward now, probably played centre half forward for the majority of the season, but as a key forward, she's gone from being quite highly regarded to one of the best in the comp as we fix the microphones apparently. Jess Stallard. Un, deux, trois. Third goal this quarter for Aspley.
And Aspley really sharing the love among the goal kickers tonight. No player with 2 to their name, but it doesn't matter.
Stallard only failed to score in one match this year. She scored in 13 of the 14 games. And there were a couple of games where she didn't score until the fourth quarter, but she never lost heart. She didn't say, not going to be my night. A couple of times she even scored 2 goals in the last quarter after not scoring for the whole game. She's got a lot of ticker in her, Jess Stallard.
And Aspley's definitely one of those teams that warm into a game. I mean, we spoke about their comeback against Yeronga, and their fourth quarter is always better than how they start. And that's what makes them so dangerous in finals, isn't it? Because something like scoreboard pressure is not getting to them in the way that it does other teams.
And you expressed that positively. As Oliver, beautiful sprint down the side. I'll get back to that point in a moment. Garton forward, wasn't able to get onto it. Through the legs of Miller. Liesi on the ground. Pittman knocking it back to Thompson. Thompson tries to kick it into Everton Park. O'Flaherty opened the goal scoring this quarter. Ducked inside a couple of players. Back to Pengelly. Just got the fist to it. Umpire saw it. We continue. Miller. Miller inside 50. There's a player on a lonesome. Thompson got back to get it away from Chesterfield. Bumped off it by Pittman. Chesterfield again. Thompson with the tackle. Causes a turnover. Lanigan thumps it away. Schneider did well, retreating. Got there ahead of Tyson. Schneider. The chip kick. Plays it to Oliver. Oliver must drain this. Looks for a shorter option. Was looking for Sally Young. The idea was right, the execution was not. You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Hannah, that Coorparoo, there was a while there where fourth place was looking a bit shaky. Get back to that in a moment. Pengelly. Vanderweel's come off the bench and decided perfect time for a lead. Fell a bit short. Vetter got in the way. Vanderweel creating space for her as Vetter fumbles 4 times in what must be a dewy ground by now. Sweeney on the outside. Got the ball from Gaunt. Inside towards Garton. Garton does well. It's a hooked kick. It'll be a minor score out in the full. No, out in the full. But yes, there was a time when fourth place was looking dicey, and then they won 4 or 5 in a row. Really got their season back on track. And, of course, the win over Bond on Pride Round would have been their highlight of the season. That was a magnificent win that night.
Look, absolutely, Daniel. And, you know, as we look at the score, 43-5, it is probably fair to say this is the end of their season. But I think for Coorparoo, it sets them up really nicely for 2024. Garden almost took that one, thrown to the ground. So Gaunt, sorry.
Carver coming out, beats everyone, including Murfield. Murfield and Farrell running back. Stallard, long way from goal. Martin indicating that she wants the ball kicked in front of her. That's a long 15. Martin on the lead, fumbles. Recovers well enough. The handball inside goes to absolutely no one and is cleared by Roberts-White. Back into the centre. Tyson drops the one-handed marking attempt and then was thrown off the ball away from the contest. Tyson will have a free kick and a bruise.
Really good pick up there from the umpire. That was a definite, not a very good attempt at all. Just too late.
And of course we have 3 umpires in the QAFLW finals. We've had 2 on the field for most of the season, but with the fewer matches, extra availability, they get the full suite. Tyson, low drilling kick because Michaela Martin was on the lead yesterday.
Is this the one to seal the deal? 43-5.
To be honest, I thought the O'Flaherty goal was probably the one that sealed it, but I've been holding off that call. You know, you got to let the highlights reel.
You do.
Only so much editing can be done. But Michaela Martin, been one of the best in this competition for the last 3 years. And she has a finals goal as a reward.
And considering how long she spent on the bench there with her calf iced, very, very, you know, good signs to have a player that can get injured, recover, and come on, kick a goal. How many people can do that?
Well, there's Michaela Martin. No, there are others, but you're right. It's a special quality to have. And sure, I mean, in the AFLW, you know, often those players are the ones who have that quality where it's not just the brilliance of their skills, but it's also the hardness of their heart, so to speak. Toughness of their heart, that's better. Hardness of heart means you're not a very nice person. But no, Michaela Martin is a special player in this competition. There's a reason that Aspley said to her, look, we want you to be part of our midfield next year. Come down from Maroochydore. And, yeah, we want you to be part of it. Here's someone who's part of it this year, Anna Vanderweel. Had a few years out of the game. Looking for, I believe, O'Flaherty on the far side. No, in fact, it's Tyson. I should have recognised by the double jink. Inside 50. Zielinski did well. Wasn't able to hold on. Vetter got front position. Murfield fighting hard. Coming back the other way was Zielinski. Been very, very impressed with Caitlin Zielinski tonight. Another one with a massive future. Pittman, her first year at the club after coming from Coorparoo. Didn't play top grade last year. I think it was with injury that she was out. Giles inside 50. Farrell would have taken a wonderful mark had she been able to clunk it. Didn't quite work out the way she wanted. Inside to Farrell. Air swing. Went to Danietz. Danietz goes low. Needs the roll on. Rolled the wrong side of the post.
11 minutes played now, nearly 12 in this fourth quarter. And it must feel good for Aspley. They get a few minutes to almost celebrate the win. I know players talk about how these are the wins that feel extra special because you've done the hard work before the siren sounds. And you really get to enjoy that fourth quarter. And my goodness, 3 goals. 1 goal in the second, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth.
Beautiful knockback from Giles to Tyson. Tyson goes central to Danietz. Danietz is someone who's so brilliant every week. I often forget to point out just how much she's done, but her passes are so quick. She keeps the play going so often, then lays it on the chest of Vanderweel, who probably did play on, but managed to fake it well enough. Probably outside her range. This is as far forward as she's played this season. Back pocket and wing mostly. Blues on the mark. Outside of the boot, won't have the distance. Crozier went for the photo. Goes inside. Beautiful vision to find Vanderweel. Blue brings it down from behind. And it wouldn't feel right without a Laura Blue special before full time.
We said before, she just does not give up. Part of the heart and soul of this club. And it really shows the integrity of Coorparoo that they've never once in this game stopped fighting. They're not even looking at that scoreboard.
Well, if Beck Randazzo was my coach, I wouldn't dare. Inside the Feta Huggage. But you're right, it's part of the culture of the club. Their team psychologist, Cash. Wonderful.
Clearly doing some really good work because look at this.
Evans to Geddes. Geddes has front position, goes from a long way out, goes to space. Then it's Schneider running onto it. Schneider trying to get there ahead of Pittman. Has Geddes inside, has Oliver behind. Oliver snaps. Don't buy a lotto ticket tonight, girls.
Hard luck for Oliver, but you know, perfect timing. And what we were saying is that Coorparoo are just not dying in this game.
It's not a 0-goal performance, this one.
Not at all.
They did deserve that one. That's the footy fan in me coming out. There's nothing anti-Aspley about this. It's just I'll feel a bit unsatisfied. It was a bit of friendly fire means Zielinski hits the ground. This game will be just a bit more right if Coorparoo can score a goal. Having said that, Aspley, they're not in the mood for charity. As it finds the boundary. If they can finish their first ever finals match without conceding a major, well, that is a major achievement.
Indeed. And I have to say, what I'm already thinking about next week, Daniel, is the difference in Aspley starts and Southport starts. And I'm going to wait until post-game to touch on that. But that is going to be a cracker matchup next week as well.
Sweeney, handballs inside the Feta Huggage, who's pushed forward. Thump from Feta Huggage, it's ill-directed, and Thompson eats those for breakfast. Thompson goes wide, it's well-directed. No, it's not. Sweeney got first hands to it. Good fighting, is able to get back inside to Oliver. Oliver, not her best kick, but it's able to bounce over Thompson. Running out was, I think, Pittman. Inside back to Thompson. The chip goes over the head of Kerwin, Young. Feta Huggage dancing through, gets the kick away. Not a bad bit of direction on it, but Vanderweel has been superb, impressed a few important observers today. Still a bit of time left. It's normally you add 1 minute per goal scored, so we could be looking at a 21-minute quarter. That's not science, that's a guess. Towards Crozier. Went for the big leap. Young's in space behind. That's it. Young's in space. We'll call her the astronaut because she's always in space. Comes out from Edmonds. Goes past Schneider and Giles. They've had a good battle tonight. Haven't always played on each other, but they've been fierce. Evans comes from the ground. Zielinski returns. And while Aspley have bigger ambitions, they want a grand final, they want a premiership, but I do hope they celebrate this tonight. They're a club that's about to win its first ever QAFLW finals match. Don't go soft.
Well, there's plenty of people around to celebrate this win with. If you're not at the grounds, it's a pretty awesome atmosphere here. It's been a very hard-earned win, and they deserve to celebrate every moment of it.
Pengelly hasn't been required as much this quarter, but her defensive work's been awesome throughout this game. Feta Huggage moves into the ruck. Lendrum got the better of it. Daniels went outside. Kicked past a Queensland teammate and Schneider. Went back to Feta Huggage, showing she can do it all. Schneider Schneider through the middle, was aiming for Oliver, got there eventually. Oliver inside to Miller. Miller's been superb tonight. Forward to McLaughlin. She's worked hard. Over the top of the contest, a lot of Hornets there. Lingard the most prominent. Handball is out of the reach of Thompson. The tackling was fierce. Falls to Garton. That is justice. Coco Garton makes sure that Coorparoo do not end this match without a goal. And that is right. That is proper.
The Year 12 student, the girls' grammar, she's the AFL captain there, and she's leading by example. No doubt some of her school friends will be cheering her on from the sideline. Just such an incredible young talent, that one.
And that's it. Coorparoo got plenty for the future. One player also, we were talking about the lack of a forward target before. Part of the reason for that, one of the women downstairs has been acting as a runner all night, Janae Govan, who is one of the, something like she's in the top 10 for goals scored in this competition's history. And she's had to have surgery this year, so she's been out of action. Put her into this side, and suddenly you've got something very, very potent indeed. Looking to hit back straight away, Aspley. They do that. The handball from Lendrum just fell at the feet. Vanderweel went inside. Kawa goes a bit wide, but Vetter was in her own postcode. Vetter faked wide, went central, found Brennan.
She had two options there as well. Is the even more incredible thing. Take your pick.
Now, there'll probably be a forward or two who runs a late lead here. Vetter among them. Brennan, way off target. Good attempt at a mark over the back from Stallard as it keeps getting pushed further away from the contest. Blue's in the middle. Yeah, I can see why Blue was frustrated there, because she literally stopped her body and held her hands up, and Vetter all but headbutted her, and the free kick was paid. So I get the frustration. But Rachel Vetter will have a shot on goal. Leading goal kicker last year. Played a very, very strong second fiddle this year to Jess Stallard. Icing is on the cake. Aspley are into a preliminary final.
Siren, no doubt, will sound any moment now. And Aspley, well, you can almost guarantee they can't wait to celebrate this one. Historic time for women's football at the Aspley Hornets.
And Luke Blacken smiles. In fact, he's laughing at the moment.
I think that was a sigh of relief almost, Daniel.
You can tell you're a coach when you're up 50 points to 11 and you're nervous.
No, it's very, very well deserved for the Aspley Hornets. But the journey is by no means over. In fact, it only gets harder from here.
As it should in finals, and you want that challenge. You want to earn the right to take on the best opponents at this time of year. Contact over the shoulder. Emma Lendrum, middle of the field. Closing stages of an historic night in the history of the Aspley Hornets Football Club. Tyson on her bike straight away. Chesterfield tried to hold her hand. That's nice. Inside, looking for Zielinski. Zielinski coming back the other way. Why not play hard to the end? There's no next week. They're going to enjoy a good postseason. Feta Hugic falls goal side. Goes to Baldwick. Baldwick! You can hear good attempt, good play downstairs, and I agree with that 100%. Not quite what they wanted.
It's not, but I think for Coorparoo, it's been a terrific effort to get to fourth place. We know very well Rebecca would have, of course, wanted more, as would all the girls, but you know, there was a point in the season where we didn't know who would make finals, and Coorparoo fought hard to earn that fourth position, that final place. They've set themselves up really nicely as the final siren sounds, and the Aspley Hornets will progress to the preliminary final, a 44-point win. Daniel, what a showing from the Hornets tonight.
It was brilliant from the Hornets. I'll go through the goal scorers. Just the one for Coorparoo with Coco Garton scoring towards the end. For Aspley, Hannah Brennan, Holly Murfield, Rachel Vetter had 2, Holly O'Flaherty, Rania Crozier, Jess Stallard and Michaela Martin. Comprehensive performance. The first half was tight, and then from there they were able to open it up.
It was. Daniel, best on Coorparoo for yourself.
Best on ground for Coorparoo. For me, it's between probably Joe Miller. In fact, I'm going to go with Joe Miller just ahead of a couple of other candidates. I thought her work through the middle, particularly early. I mean, Taya Oliver and Laura Blue are always brilliant, but the way that Joe Miller's come back from injury this year, grown into her role, yeah, very impressive footballer to watch.
For me, I'm going to have to give it to the youngster Coco Garton. Only goal for Coorparoo this evening. I think she really lifted the spirits of the team, played her role really nicely in the ruck. And for the winning side, well, Hannah Giles was it for me. I thought she injected herself in all the right moments. She plays with a lot of heart and she never quite gives up. But in saying that, it was hard to pick that because I think this performance from Aspley was very dangerous for the Southport Sharks next week.
Indeed, Southport would have been watching this game very closely, and they'll be confident because they've beaten them twice this season. In terms of best on ground for Aspley tonight, I thought Hannah Giles was an excellent choice, but I am going to go for Lucy Pengelly with this one. I thought her ability to not only intercept mark, but also attack through the middle, and so many times she was one who got the counter-attack going. I should shut up and we should listen to this.
Beautiful celebration there from the Hornets. Well, this sets us up for an incredible final next week, the preliminary final, sorry. Who makes the big dance? Will it be the Aspley Hornets or the Southport Sharks? We'll find out next week. My name's Hannah Davies and I've been joined with Daniel Viles. Daniel, we'll see you next week.
See you then, Hannah. Thank you.